All right, let's talk about health. When I say that word, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, right, it's, well, not being sick. But what if I told you that's just one tiny piece of a much bigger, much more fascinating puzzle? Let's dive in and explore what it really means to be healthy.
So let's just kick things off with this really big question. Is being healthy simply the absence of disease? No cold, no injuries, no major diagnosis. For a long, long time, that was pretty much how everyone saw it. But wow, has our understanding of that idea changed?
And you might be surprised to hear this isn't some new age concept. Way back in 1946, the World Health Organization came out with this incredible, much broader vision. They said health is a state of complete physical, social, and even spiritual well-being, not just the absence of illness. I mean, think about that. This was a total game changer. It meant health wasn't just about dodging germs, it was about actively pursuing a state of wholeness.
Okay, so to really get why this newer perspective is so important, we've got to take a step back and look at the old way of thinking, the model that pretty much ran the show in medicine for centuries.
This traditional approach is called the biomedical model, and the easiest way to think about it is, well, it sees the human body kind of like a car, a really, really complex machine for sure. But if a part breaks down, you take it to the mechanic, in this case the doctor, and their job is to find that broken part and fix it.
So let's break down this old school thinking. First, it assumes getting sick is purely biological. It's either a germ from the outside or something inside your body that malfunctions. And here's a huge one. It says your mind and your body are totally separate. What you're thinking or feeling, completely irrelevant to your physical health. This means the patient is just a passive victim of their illness, and the only goal is to fix the physical body. It's all very black and white. You're either sick or you're healthy, no in between.
Now, don't get me wrong, this model was absolutely revolutionary. It saved countless lives, no question. But it just doesn't explain the whole story, does it? Like, why can two people get the exact same illness, but one recovers quickly while the other struggles? Or, why are students way more likely to catch a cold during final exams when their stress is just through the roof? The biomedical model doesn't really have a good answer for that stuff.
And that's exactly where a more complete picture starts to come into focus. This is the part of the story where we finally start connecting the mind and the body, building a whole new framework for how we look at our well-being.
This comparison right here is so key. On one side, you've got the old biomedical model. On the other, the biopsychosocial model. And the name kind of gives it away, right? Bio, psycho, social. Instead of separating the mind and body, this new model sees them as deeply interconnected. It argues that health isn't just about biology. It's a mix of our biology, our psychology, and our social world. And maybe the most important shift? You're no longer seen as a passive victim. You have an active role to play in your own health. That's huge.
And this revolutionary way of thinking, this holistic approach, it's not just some nice idea. It's actually the core principle of a whole scientific field.
Welcome to the world of health psychology, a discipline focused entirely on digging into this powerful mind-body connection.
So what is it exactly? Well, health psychology is the study of how all our psychological processes, our thoughts, feelings, and actions relate to our physical health. It's all about using what we know about the mind to promote wellness, prevent sickness, and even make our entire healthcare system work better for everyone.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. Health psychology investigates the links between what happens in our heads and what happens in our bodies. It asks those big questions like, how does your stress level actually affect your immune system? How do your habits around food influence your risk for chronic disease? And maybe most importantly, how can we change our behaviors to live healthier lives? And the goals here are super practical. This isn't just about academic studies. Nope. It's about actively promoting healthy habits, trying to prevent illness before it ever gets a foothold, really understanding the root causes of disease, and working to make the whole healthcare system better for all of us.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually translate into the real world, and why does any of this really matter for you?
Let's get down to brass tacks. What kind of work are we talking about here? Well, health psychologists are on the front lines, helping people make real, tangible changes in their lives. For example, they're the ones who develop programs to help people manage chronic stress. They work with people on the behavioral patterns behind weight gain. They design interventions to help people quit smoking, improve their nutrition, and cut down on other risky behaviors. Basically, they apply psychological principles to solve actual real-world health problems.
So, look, if you take away just one single thing from all of this, let it be this. Health isn't something that just happens to you. You're not just a machine that might break down. Your mind, your daily choices, and your social connections are some of the most powerful tools you have to protect and improve your well-being.
And that leaves us with a final thought. Recognizing that you have an active role, that's the first step. The next is taking action. So what's one small choice you can make today, right now, to actively use those tools and start shaping your own health journey?